actually going to go live right now. Oh yeah, alright. Internet's holding well. Hello, and welcome back here to SRL360. What an honor it is to be back on the second episode of the podcast for Season 7. Evening to Anthony McDonald in the chat as always. Amazing to have you here. I'm Eddie Oliver as always, joined alongside a fine group of young men and old men with me here this evening. The Commissioner of the League, Sonny Taia, and the personality of Tim James and Lennox Prakash. And a special guest for this evening, I actually forgot to mention in the first announcement, Roosters captain and New South Wales captain and coach, Matty Harris. G'day, lads.
Wow. It's been good. It's been a while since I've been off this show, Eddie?
Nah, it's very good. It's good to have everybody back. We've got a massive episode planned. A lot to get through in a short amount of time. But we're going to dig straight into it. We're going to start going on through the games that have just passed in round 4. A lot of surprises, a lot of upsets as well for some teams who really did need a win. But starting off on the 22nd, it was the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs against the Sydney Roosters. 6-point contest it was. Tim, 30 points to 24. Both teams who won't be on the table where they are, especially for the Roosters, but a lot of strike for both sides. A very close contest. In my opinion, the Roosters have been the team that's come the closest to nearly beating the Bulldogs this season.
Yeah, Roosters are pretty disappointing this season, to be honest. No offense, Matty, but to see where they were placed in the off season is very disappointing to where they are now. I think they're below top 8, and they came close to beating Bulldogs, but Bulldogs, as class as they are, they just showed that they deserve to be 4-0, and 30 points to 24. The Roosters nearly had it, but didn't see much of it. But all their big players showed up. Blair Curtin, Kyle Lewis, Milo Kerrigan, Tyler Weston, and all that. But they didn't have enough for the Bulldogs, and it's an unfortunate loss for the Roosters.
It definitely was very unfortunate. The Roosters, it's only 6 points, and then last week as well, not just getting over the line. Honestly, I know Matty's been talking about there's some few things to fix up within his side, but in honest opinion, he's just been getting very unlucky with Sims. I even spoke about it later in the past few days, which we'll get to. But there's nothing more Matty can do, to be honest. He's already got the side there that's already competitive. You just got to get a bit of luck on your way in the SRL. But next on after that, the 6 p.m. game, it was the Melbourne Storm up against the Gold Coast Titans. And Melbourne, again, coming away with an amazing win last week. 2 points differential it was, but just not enough in it. In the second half, no points scored. Sonny, I'll give you the reins on this one. Titans 18 points to 6. Again, the only other side that are undefeated besides the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough match for Melbourne. We know what Titans are capable of, and yeah, they came on the road down here to Melbourne and they pulled off a good win. There was a lot of errors from the Storm, particularly in their halves. You know, that halves pairing of Blake Harris and Will Kay, they just didn't have the game that they needed to have. But yeah, the Titans performed well, 18-6 road win, their first one in Melbourne, and yeah, they're undefeated now. So yeah, they're looking the goods early on here, Gold Coast.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. Mark Lee and Liam Rogers, or Little Man as he wants to call himself now. He's not. They definitely got a very good squad brewing. They're wanting to push on for finals, and they're already in an amazing spot on the ladder as well. And South Sydney Roosters, it was at Course Stadium against the Brisbane Broncos. Brisbane 4 games on the road now, no one home game, and I believe this was the Rabbitohs' first home game. 38 points to 24. Very high-scoring contest, both sides, and it all just came down to who wanted to cross that white line a bit more, and it was the Rabbitohs who came away with it. It's a gutsy win from them. They've had a very actually good few first games, thumping the Sharks, and they're just showing their class off their attacking stride against the Broncos. Lenny, amazing stuff here from the Rabbitohs. Their star players, Tyrone Clay, Kevin Dixon, Jai Collins, really just showing their experience on the field.
Yeah, it was a really good game by the Rabbitohs. Wasn't expecting it. Personally put my tip for the Broncos, but they just wanted it more. 38 points on the board. It was a good try-scoring performance by the whole team. Everyone played well. Obviously, that quick try at the start really helped them. Got them the momentum, and 14-point win was pretty good.
Yeah, it definitely was. 38 points to 24, but probably what I would call it to myself, probably the flogging of the season so far. North Queensland Cowboys against the Manly Seagulls. 38 points to 0. It's rough, and there's a lot more that we'll get into about Manly very shortly, but that's just 38. I'll hand this one over to you, Matty. Just 38 points to 0. Your former club, KCK. He just can't catch a break, can he?
I've never felt worse in a game that wasn't my own team. Like, I said it before in the chat that I thought like the sim against the Roosters was bad. We lost all those big moments in the sim, but Manly didn't just lose the big moments; they lost every single moment they could have been. And to add insult to injury or injury to insult, they lost 2 of their main forwards.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to Kane. I've been helping him like team list wise, because when you lose 2 players, you got to work around that substitution in the team list. Actually, get people in the right position. And I'll tell you, the team list he's got out is the only possible way he could have even got a legal team out.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
A rough off week for Manly. But the Cowboys, probably their first game of the season where they've really shown their true colours. They nearly pulled away against Penrith in round 1, but they put up a bit of a fight, which, no surprise, Robbo Mobston in there, Lennox Prakash, Callum Irwin, Bailey Wilson, Chad Johnson. They're always going to hold down the fort down there at the foot of the mountain. But
64% possession too.
Yeah, no,
definitely.
Match. It just seems like North Queensland Cowboys really just showed their hand and finally finding a bit of form in this competition with the star class players that they have. Nonetheless, it was down at Mount Smart Stadium, down at Newcastle. The Knights up against the Warriors. What a contest it was. The scoreboard not really reflecting just how close that game was. It was about 10 minutes to go. It was 12-all. And then it was a try to... I'm not really 100% sure who it was, but it 100% definitely did break that game open. The return of Logan Strange, which we will get to and talk about very shortly. Warriors coming away with the win. I'll take this one on myself. It was an excellent game for the Warriors, especially having Hugh Snow coming off of the bench. really showing their depth in the halves with Paddy Corcoran, Jaden White, Joe McCartney. And they had a very good substitution game at halftime. I reckon they just took them away for that last 10 minutes. The Knights, they've always got an amazing squad. Dustin Richards really was putting his hand up in that second half. Again, it just wasn't enough to get them over the line. But the team that we all thought that weren't in it for 65, 70 minutes actually showed their true colours towards the end of the game. The Raiders up against the Panthers, 14 points to 12. They've got something to play for here, the Panthers. I'll give this one over to Lenny. He was surprised about this one himself. Coming out of the game, they definitely did lose a key player in Cody Mansell, but I'm sure, Lenny, you're happy to see that your team's got a bit of fight in there.
Had to stint at fullback too at the end.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even know what to say. We played pretty well, especially the first half. Just controlled the ball, controlled the field position. Obviously, Jim Thames pointed it out in commentary. And we just couldn't score. 0 points until the second half. Going into the sheds was at 8-0 at halftime. We just controlled it first half, put out our best half of the year, and we just couldn't get points on the board. It was unfortunate, but we got there in the end. Only a 2-point game. Scored a few tries towards the end. Just wasn't enough against Tim James.
Oh, that was a scrappy win, I'm not going to lie. There wasn't much doing. Yeah, worst game of the year for Raiders. I hate saying it as a player, though, but it's the truth. We're playing against the Panthers. There are, no offence, Lenny, but they're down at the bottom and they're not looking so good, and they've just lost Cody Mansell as well. But to have those 12 points put on as they lost their fullback is kind of embarrassing, considering they had a forward at the back as well. So, yeah, it was a scrappy win, but we got it in the end. But something's got to change in the team. Not much attack going on, but I'm pretty happy about the win and how to start the season. 3-1, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was amazing to see.
19 plus.
Definitely was. Canberra Raiders, 14 points to 12 against the Panthers. Well done to them. But the final game of the round, Cronulla Sharks, Parramatta Eels. Sonny was on the edge of his seat. I was calling it in the box. Again, another game down to the wire, but Jamal Kausakow, 80-metre effort, breaking one tackle, showing Isaac Simons how to truly run with the ball in hand. Just what a solo effort it was from your second rower.
Yeah, sorry, this was a good game. Luke Short and the Eels, they turned up early. They tried to set the tone, and mate, I got put on my ass a few times. It was a very physical game. Yeah, the boys definitely had to work for that one. We scrapped by with a bit of luck, but yeah, Kausakow had a blinder. He got two pies against the Eels. Horny King backing up his performance last week. He got on the board as well. Jason Farrell won against the former team. So, yeah, it was one of those games where it was looking pretty dangerous early on. It was giving me signs of that Rabbitohs game. But I think we sort of learnt from that last time. And, yeah, we just bounced back, stuck in there, and we managed to find a break at the end and the last 15 minutes. So, yeah, it was a good game. GG's to Parramatta in that, hopefully they go good this season. But, it was just our night.
Yeah, it definitely was. Parramatta, very good start early, going to the sheds, 12-6. Again, it is two halves of footy in the end, and Cronulla came out in the second half. They knew what they had to do to turn the game around. The Eels didn't clearly execute what they wanted to do. Didn't hold out. Those rookies did an amazing job towards the halftime siren, but in the end, just fatigue and pure lack of experience wasn't enough to get them over the line. But we're going to move on to one of our next segments, State of Origin. And that's one of the main reasons why we've got the man himself, Matty Harris, on here this evening, sort of to talk about how sort of life is at the camp. But most of all, what's it like feeling, are you guys looking towards holding up that trophy? It's still a long way to go. But I'm sure, Matty, you've got in the back of your mind, yourself and the rest of the players that you choose in your squad to be standing in that Origin arena, Game 3, holding that trophy up in front of the Queenslanders' face.
Absolutely, that's the plan. Holding the shield up, standing over the Queensland players while they talk about it. And let's be real, They will. But yeah, in terms of the camp, it's pretty empty at the moment. It's still early days. There's only 3 of us at the moment. We got a few players who are locks. Not the position lock, but like actually like they're going to be in the side for sure. Which we're not gonna what's the word? Announce, expose, whatever you want. It's not going to be said until the team list.
No, feel free. It's
No.
Keep going.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is every player that gets picked is going to be bloodthirsty. Well,
Am I in, Matty?
Hungry.
Matty, I'm in.
No comment.
Is this going to be a new feel to the squad from last game series? Is there going to be some things that you're wanting to definitely change up that you felt like didn't work best for you the first time or during the last series? Something potentially New South Wales hasn't tried before that you reckon they can just get you over the line that one step further to finding victory?
For me personally, I pick a squad based on performance rather than being an incumbent. Obviously, being an incumbent gives you a little bit of brownie points, but if you're not performing in your position at your club and someone else is performing a lot better, then they're going to force my hand into it. In saying that, some positions we're light on and we're not really going to have a choice. But it's looking good. All my sims, all my test runs, which I've been doing since before I even became the Blues captain. I'm like, I think it was 2 months prior to it. I was just like, what if I get this? And then I just started testing from then. So I'm pretty well prepared. So good luck to the. Actually, no, not good luck. Screw the Queensland boys.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, considering that you've actually been doing it for 2 months prior, you've been practicing with predicted Queensland and also New South Wales squads, because you'd have no idea how those players would perform when the season did come around. But, how do you think your chances are? Do you reckon you guys are going to put up a good fight? Like, what is your feel within the leadership group at the moment? You've got Lockie there, you've got KCK with you, I believe. I'm sure you boys have already been talking about it since day dot when the roles were released. But just like with you personally, do you feel like you've got a strong chance of being able to compete against whatever squad Queensland puts out game 1?
But the real question is, are they going to be able to compete with us?
Hey, I'll ask them the same question when I get them on. Don't you worry.
Absolutely. We're going to compete. We're going to fight hard.
Yeah, no, definitely. Good to hear. Thanks, Matty, for coming around for this segment. You can feel free to hang around for the rest of the show. I know you've got some stuff planned tonight for your personal self, but
I got to prep for my own show.
Beautiful. Well, massive thank you to Matty Harris for coming on the show this evening. State of Origin captain as always, and a congratulations to the role. Best of luck for the future weeks and selections, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more released about Origin and also Aotearoa State of Origin as well. But thank you, Matty. Best of luck for State of Origin and also the rest of the season with the Roosters.
Thank you. Up the chooks, screw south. Take care, boys.
Thank you very much.
On you, Matty.
Cheers, Matty. Thank you for coming along and joining us. But up next, it's going to be a bit of a debate with the SRL Commission against myself and Lenny Prakash and Tim James. Sort of a bit of a debacle that went on in SRL chat yesterday between Daniel Hellyer, Lee Simon questioning the Warriors captain himself about the signing of Logan Strange. How did this happen? We're all wanting to know where the process is followed, where procedures undertaken correctly for this to happen. Another example of this was Malachi Booth for the Rabbitohs. Wasn't any sign of form of activity. Just run straight into an SRL side. Sonny, I'm just going to put some questions in, into your lap right now. Like, you can see what's up on the screen so you have an idea what I'm going to talk about. But, a player who hasn't been in the game or active in the server for not very much in any form of capacity in the SRL for about 2 years, without having to upgrade for 3 weeks, a bronze for a top tier silver. Do you have any insight on how this was approved or how the process was undertaken?
Yeah, Eddie. No, that's all fair. And yeah, we will address the situation. So I've got a bit to break down here, so bear with me, boys. If you've got anything you'd like to add after it or whatever, then it's
all
free
you,
and
man.
open.
I've got no idea.
But yeah, before I begin, let me just say that Logan is in like no fault in this whatsoever.
Yeah. Definitely.
He's 100%, nothing to do with him. Like everything that's happened was decided on by the commission in consultation with the dev team as well.
Yeah, I just
So
want
to
to
give a bit of
add on top of that, the Warriors aren't in any fault either, because in the end, it's not them who confirms the signing of a player. It's the SRL Commission. So we're not blaming any clubs. We're not blaming any players. We're not blaming anybody. We're just wanting concise views on the SRL Commission, what actually undertook during this situation. Sorry, Sonny.
No, you're right, Eddie, and thank you for that clarification. Yeah, that the Wires as well, they're not at fault here. So to give context to what's happened with the Malachi Booth situation, basically could have gone through the same process as everyone else, like myself, like Jack O'Neill. So that was, an oversight from the commission. With Logan, you make fair points, Eddie, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people who share those similar, opinions. And basically, what I will say is, with Logan, it was a different circumstance where, this is Logan Strange we're talking about. It's Mr. SRL. It's the man who created all this, and if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be doing this right now. So, the thing was, it was a bit of a mix of timing. It was unfortunate timing. After the Malachi Booth situation happened, we were aware, but basically we'd already, allowed the process to happen. So that was meant to be a one-off, and it was just meant to be finished from there. We made a mistake. We acknowledge that. It's a part of the process when you transition to a new commission. And Will's got so much work on his hands. It's the busiest season of the SRL so far. And it's only going to get busier. We've got big plans ahead, and we've implemented some of those already. But with Logan, if the Malachi Booth situation didn't happen, I'll put my hand up and say that personally, I would have made an executive decision to allow an exemption for him. Because it just would not be right to have the creator of the SRL bloody in the mines, and I understand both sides of the argument, and I understand it, but it would have been an executive decision that we would have, of course, consulted with the dev team, but I think the consensus would have been to allow him to come back. Like I said, this is Logan Strange we're talking about. He's not a stranger, like his surname might, insinuate. This is Mr. SRL. So, if the Malachi situation never happened, Logan more than likely still would have been exempt. And I'll put my hand up and take full responsibility for however, the reaction is to that statement. But let me just also say as well, let me just address something to captains, and not to anyone in particular. This is just a reminder to all captains, myself included. It was a bit of a shame that Logan's return was tainted with, all the commotion going on in SRL chat. And let me just remind the captains that there's proper ways to go about it. There's, protocol and channels that we can communicate about these sorts of things, away from the spotlight, where we don't need to air this sort of thing. We're open, we're transparent, we're always here, and we're honest. I know that some people might not like my response to this whole situation, but this is the direction of the commission, and this is what we've acknowledged the mistakes that we've made, but in saying that, we've got a new process now which will be followed from now on, where players that go inactive will have to follow the process no matter who it is, or what the circumstances are. So those were just a couple of incidents where we sort of let it slip, so to speak. And look, it was just an oversight of the commission. So I'll just stress that it won't happen again. We've gone through this process now, and hopefully we can move forward. If there's anything that anyone wants to say, me, Will, any of the staff, reach out to us. Let's have a chat, and hopefully that clears up all the air. If you boys, want to say anything or ask anything to follow up, feel free. But yeah.
Tim, you can feel free to add anything if you want before I continue.
I think Sonny pretty much summed it up there. I'm pretty much left speechless. That's how I was gonna say. So yeah, good work, Sonny. But no, I don't even know what to say now. He's pretty much said it all, eh?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, just it was a good point that Eddie brought this up too, so we can sort of address this, and anything that needs to be followed up on, we can follow up on it. But we don't want to take away from the fact that we've got Logan Strange back in the SRL, and we don't want this to sort of spoil the moment or whatever. But it's good to come on here and address that to everyone as well. So that's pretty much it from me on that.
Sure. 100%. You go, Lenny.
Nah, I just wanted to say good job again. Reinstate what Tim said.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Cheers, boys. Appreciate it. Been sort of working on my PR skills. I'm trying to get there.
It definitely is very good to see Logan Strange back in the SRL after many moons and years. Maybe it wasn't in the way that he would have wanted to return, and also the commission wouldn't have wanted to reinstate this amazing player, and also just general all-round good bloke. For myself personally on this, it's not the first time that I've been talking about it. It's the first time on air, but I've had my piece with a few people personally. I didn't want to go pointing hands and pointing out the blame. One of the reasons that gives me the pleasure of doing this podcast is to bring up these things, to give it one last piece and then put it back where it belongs, and that's in the chest or wherever you want to put it, not be spoken about again. There was something that went wrong. There's no pointing hands at it because we're human, and if we were perfect, this world would be pretty effing boring. And podcasts like ourselves wouldn't have anything to talk about. So we thank Sonny for talking about what he has done, and also what the whole commission has done to undertake to make sure that an oversight like this doesn't happen again. Logan Strange was an exemption, but Malachi Booth another one, just to make sure that protocols are followed, 3-week upgrades. Even if there are no mines, you still want to prove that you're active. Especially, we want to do this so the blame doesn't fall onto a captain or a player who's just trying to, have a bit of fun in a competition, in a community. The Warriors, they can come out and talk about Warriors hate and all that stuff, but we aren't hating on yous. We don't want to. This isn't what this comp is about. We're all here to have fun. And, in the end, I just want to talk about the process. The Warriors ask for the handshake. They, offer the contract for the player. The player signs it. That doesn't mean it's set, done deal. Then that goes off to the commission to be processed, and then they're the ones that allow it through. So the Warriors followed by the book. They did what they had to do on their part. The commission already have admitted what they've done, what they've had to say. Thank you very much for Sonny Taia for saying that. But
thank you, Eddie. Once again, it's good to
I just want to add something from Joe McCartney. He says, "Cheers, Sonny, with accountability like that. Even if it's not your issue, it's admirable and a fan." And then somebody else says, "I could not care less about the Warriors got Strange and Booth to Bunnies. Who's doing something about this?" Yeah, no, it's not careless, but there are all these other circumstances that you could bring up that we will get to in a minute. Eels, Panthers, Manly, they could have help. 7 silvers, there's a lot to talk about, but nonetheless, it's done. We're moving on. And moving on to something that's called the ladder. SRL ladder, top 4, Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, Titans, Raiders, Sharks. That's what makes up your top 4. And those 2 teams in the 1 and 2, Titans, Bulldogs, 4 for 0, 0 losses. That is quite an astonishing record to have 4 rounds in, Tim.
Yeah, yeah, they are the new teams, Doggies and Titans. They've just come in and shown everyone what they're worth. You know, I wasn't surprised about the Doggies or Titans being up there, to be honest. They've both got an exceptional team. You know, Doggies, you know, they got Tatata Maxwell, Kobe Johnston, Damien Moana, you know, an excellent forward pack. And then Titans just have an overall good team, you know, Liam Ryan and all that stuff. So, yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. And, you know, not surprised about Raiders or Sharks being there as well. We know we've both got a pretty good team, eh? Sonny's got he's got a good forward pack up there, and Raiders are just overall really good. So that's what I have to say, but I'm not surprised with it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. No surprise those teams are up there. Next, Canberra Raiders, Sharkies. 4 for 1. One loss in the bank, but that's hardly going to put down these two beautiful teams. The reigning premiers in the top 4 already. No surprise, but the new team on the block. I actually should say the 3 new teams are in the top 4. Sharks, Titans, Bulldogs. But
Wow.
Tim with the Raiders, amazing job as usual. Player retention, definitely in play. Good rookies you picked up as well. But the Sharkies, Sonny, he's put a team together. I'm sure he was nervous as all crap coming round 1, but I'm sure there's a bit of relief in the air when you're able to see yourself in the top 4 on the SRL ladder.
Yeah, mate. Nah, it's a good start for us. You know, the good starts, they give you a lot of confidence. And yeah, no, the Sheds we're buzzing. You know, we're in a good position right now. We've got a couple of tough games coming up against the Dogs and the Roosters. So, you know, they're going to be tough games, but hopefully we can scrap by with a couple wins and, you know, head into the break in the top 4, maybe even at the number 1 spot. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, no, definitely. In concluding the top 8, Cowboys, Warriors, Storm, and Rabbitohs, who have just snuck in after that win against the Bronx. Cowboys, they've had a few up and down games, very close calls with some of the top teams on the ladder. Lenny, the Cowboys, you really think this game against Manly 38-0 is just going to open up their season from here?
They played excellently, and it was all led by Chaz Dingo. He didn't score, but he had well over 250 meters. It was about 10 line breaks. He was just excellent through the middle there at fullback. They have a great forward pack. Chris Lord's a great leader. People like Jordan Williams, people like even in the halves, Jack Cahill, Stace DePace, they're all leaders of the forward pack, leaders of the halves. They're just playing very united. They're all playing very well. And you can just see the team chemistry out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. A very good team been brought. And a lot of half changes as well. And Jack Carl coming in, Chaz Dingo, Lucas Deuce. That's a complete reconstruction of your key positions right there. 7, 6, and
His
1.
name wrong. Jack Carl.
Doesn't matter. We're all taking a crack and taking a risk being here this evening, and I'm sure it's appreciated by everybody. It is myself and everybody else in the studio with us. But, definitely the Cowboys. Warriors, they've had an amazing start. Very good. Definitely showing that, you know, the rookies that they've been nurturing are actually, they're finally seeing the fruits of their hard work. They're in 6th. You know, 2 wins, 2 losses. A very good for and against, points-wise, 28. That's actually better than some teams who are above them. Better than the Sharkies.
No, not that much better.
Melbourne, I mean, you're on 0. They're on 28. And then, you know, Melbourne, rough start-ish to the season. They've had a lot of close calls, and they've had some very tough games, which they've definitely shown up and fought for. I'm going to be expecting them to improve. The Rabbitohs, well, they're the team that are showing the rest of the compound's done. Who cares who you lost? All that matters about who's willing to play for this jersey and the squad that they're in. That's what they're doing. They're
Playing
in the top
well.
8. Broncos, 9th. I'm happy about it. It could be a lot worse. Manly, well, considering a 38-0 loss, they're still above the Roosters, so they've got something going their way. The Roosters, though, Tim, I'll let you take this one. You know, Matty Harris, Charlie Rossini, Blair Curtin, Raika Manu, Marshall Edwards. You know, all those types of players, those guns. And they're towards the bottom end of the SRL ladder 4 rounds in. Still a long season to go, but what's your thoughts on just how they've ended up in this place so far?
Yeah, look, Roosters are, like I said before, Eddie, they're just a bit, not meeting everyone's expectations. They were placed very high during the off season at maybe the top of the table, and at the moment it's not showing. They're coming 11th with like 1 win and 3 losses, and with a squad like that, you'd expect them to be winning so much games, but it's just not translating. And it's leaving everyone confused on why they're not performing so well. And it's actually left me quite confused, considering they've got such a good squad. Riker Manu, Charlie Rossini, Matty Harris. Matty Harris is the greatest captain of all time. And this is probably going to be one of his worst starts to a season as a captain. And he's known to be a really good captain and lead his pack around. And it's just not looking good for them so far. But hopefully they can pick it up. And yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. We all do hope that they can finally find their stride. And the Knights, well, in my opinion, they're probably one of the teams who are already in the SRL, down at the bottom of the ladder. Well, Wooden Spooners last season. The players that they signed, Dustin Richards, John Nanai, Bo Sadler. List goes on from memory. I believe Nathan Fisher. That is really good stuff. A platinum prop, a very good silver to gold second rower who can play prop and lock. And then just some very good, rookies. Band Dishwasher.
The legend Goku Simpson.
Goku had a game of his life.
Oh,
man.
That's a sight to see.
Man, it was good sight to see the young rookies going at centres. Lee Simon's another one. Goku Simpson. Just centres finally making their mark in the league. We all know how hard it is to play out in the centres. But to do what these young rookies are doing, it's beautiful to see. But as we move on, Panthers, Lenny, I'll give this off to you in a second. I'll just say my piece. But it's definitely not the start of the season that you'd want to see. It's rough. It's not what any captain would want. But in my way in life, somebody who captains the side wouldn't be dealt this type of thing if they couldn't handle it. So, in my opinion, I know you can handle it. I know you can push on. It's just a matter of case of, are you willing to keep going and waiting for those 50-50 situations go your way.
100%. I just know there's a few issues within position-wise within our roster. It's a bit heavy on some parts, and luckily the trade window is coming up soon, so hopefully we'll be able to address that, particularly in the forward pack. Obviously, losing Robert Mobison's a big loss. It's our one plat player, our lock. So, in order to cover that, we had to sign a half because there was not much available in the mines market. So I think we've got 4 primary halves right now. So it makes it quite difficult for the rotations. So we have to play them both off the bench, or we put one at lock. So hopefully we can deal one of those out during the trade window and then get a bit more forward pack strength. Obviously, injuries haven't helped either. Obviously, Cody Mansour. The week before that, Sonny Sharp got injured. So obviously with that half, lack of, too much depth, actually. Too much depth in the halves. It hurts when we get injuries too because it limits what we're able to do in regards to the team sheet.
Definitely.
The Sims haven't favoured us too much so far, but it does have to come down to depth and the issue regarding that. We haven't been too great to start off, but I'm sure we can turn this around.
Who are you going to play in that fullback, Lenny?
We're getting to that later on.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Parramatta Eels, Lukey Short, again, not catching a break. But in my opinion, Sonny, he had his best game the week against the Sharkies. It might not have gone his way, but him himself personally just absolutely ran out of the gates in that first stint. That's the best that I've seen him play all season. And the team definitely followed him. And those rookies, defensively, when Ollie Parchain himself went off, they really had you guys on the ropes coming towards halftime.
Yeah, they had us shook in the early stages of that game, I'm not going to lie. And Luke Short had a blinder of a game. He really, put his best foot forward, led by example. You saw the way he played. He just, wanted touch after touch. And he didn't say die until the end. He wanted that ball all the way till the final whistle. You know, and it was an all-round good team performance by Parramatta. There wasn't too much that they did wrong, but it was just those times where they did something wrong, we were able to sort of capitalize off it. So I think they've sort of found themselves a formula to compete and hopefully have a better run of form than they've had this first month of footy. But yeah, you know, they definitely earned my respect if they didn't have it before, which, you know, they already did. Luke Short's a great bloke. But yeah, it was just a bit of luck for us. But, you know, a lot of potential for Parramatta if they can find a way to, you know, build off what they brought against us.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, Parramatta are sort of in that situation where they just had to pick up whatever was on the market. And all there really was either backs or, you know, hooker or lock primaries. You know, you've got Zachary Brown, who's playing second row, who's a centre primary, who actually did an amazing job. I'll give him that. Joey June, who's got a starting spot out there in the centres. Liam Evans and Tom Jameson, who actually came on and did a very good job at hooker. I'll give him that. He held up defensively, held his own, did an amazing job to it. Phoenix Murphy and Alistair Russell really having to stand up. I actually don't mind Alistair at lock. That was a good move there from Luke. I really loved it. He played his guts out whenever he got the chance with the ball. Very good ball playing as well. But nonetheless, we're going to move on to just probably the final segment. We might finish up a bit short here because we got something to talk about and hopefully get over and done with. But we're just going to run through the teams where they're not where they would want to be in the round. So Parramatta, we just spoke about them. But, you know, lads, where's it all gone wrong? It's 4-0, a run of bad luck. I would agree with that personally. But will we ever know the full SRL? We'll never know, to be honest, because the SRL is full of mysteries. And this one specifically has been running all around for Parramatta since the end of Season 1. Season 1ers have been leaving, retiring, going inactive. But do they have to look to, you know, their past? Eli Barnes, Tim James. Does that Season 1 team genuinely hold the key for them to making some sort of future and to making finals in the future of the SRL team?
I suppose I'll take over here. To me, I feel like there's two ways that Parramatta can go about it. A, they can try and build off what they have now and just sort of mould that team into the style of footy that they want to play. Or they try something, you know, out of the blue. Maybe they try and get some big names in free agency, or they try and pull off some big trades coming up in the trade window this February. So, yeah, when you're 0-4, that's when the questions start being asked, you know, what do we change? What do we do? How do we get ourselves back in the fight? And I think next week with the game against Penrith and Parramatta, that's going to be a good chance for both teams, you know, yeah, it's definitely going to be a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, good chance for both teams to get their first win on the board, and who knows, you know, that win could change their momentum, and yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. But
yeah, no, definitely. And you talk about the Panthers; they're the ones next up. Could this be called their worst season to date? Not to be harsh, but they're in the same spot as the Parramatta Eels after 4 rounds, still 0 wins. How do they improve from here? You know, we spoke about trades. Do they have to get players from other clubs that they would actually be wanting? Have they got to go out trading on the open market to reinvigorate this squad and get some strike back into their side? The injury to Cody Mansour got mentioned by Tim. Well, here it is. I'll hand it over to him in a second. Is that going to be their final blow? Round 5 fullback spot. Any bets on who's going to take up the responsibility? Where, you know, Lenny Prakash did take over the reins in the last 10 minutes. Is he going to put himself there? But in the end, in all seriousness, Lenny, I'll get you in a second, but Tim, who do you really think is going to be, you know, taking up the reins in that fullback spot against the Parramatta Eels in round 5?
Yeah, look, they don't have much, you know, depth at fullback. They've got Mendonca, you know, Shaq the Unknown. They could put Shaq the Unknown at the back there. You never know what he could do. You know, his name is Unknown, so it's unknown what he can do.
Allow me.
You know, I'd probably say Jason Laumu.
Oh, yeah?
Jason Laumu is the fastest bloke on the team, I reckon, and I think he is the man to do it. You know, he's got a high sidestep and probably the highest acceleration and speed on the team. So I think he's the man to do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. My opinion, I'd probably go with Mendonca. He's got 81 sidestep compared to Laumu's 67.
Oh, I
90
was reading the wrong one.
acceleration.
I was reading the wrong
90
one.
acceleration compared to...
Laumu's-
Laumu's a very good player, but just in some key parts of his game that are required for fullback, I don't think he does have. Mendonca, 72 fitness.
He's at around 83 strength.
89, 8, oh yeah, yep. 72
Is it?
fitness for Mendonca, 70 strength, 78 agility. I'd be going with Mendonca, and I'd happily put $1 million on it. But Lenny, if you're willing or feeling comfortable to release who you will put there for us, go ahead. If you don't, we can move on.
For the content, might as well. So next week we've got. Let me pull up the list real quick. Bear with me 1 second.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Thomas at fullback. Unlucky. Tim James.
Oh, close enough.
You know,
We've got Laumu switching wings though, so it's a bit interesting.
yeah, no, I reckon Lam will do a cracker job on the wing, and he could even solidify that spot on the wing for future games. We'll never know until
Marshall
recording this week.
Metcalf, well, he's switching from centre to wing. I feel really good for him because last week he had, I think it was 118 run meters at centre, which is
Yep.
pretty rare for a centre spot. So
It's crazy.
wanted to reward him, so he'll get a chance on the wing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Best of luck for Metcalf. But moving on, it is going to be Manly. Flogging of the season so far, you never know. They really did get outclassed, even losing very important players in their squad against the game. Up at Townsville against the Cowboys, with the loss of 2 key players, how much depth is actually left in this league to help these sides with the loss of such key players such as Brad Goodwin and Aaron Beckman? That's your whole forward pack gone. Will there be enough depth to fill a 17-man lineup that can compete with the teams in this competition? You know, Sonny, there's not much left on the blocks to bring players up. Brad Goodwin, a rotated cuff tear, he could be gone for a while. He might need even go out to Bali just like Dom Ponkston did, just to fix that up. But Aaron Beckman, concussion, he'll follow the standard head protocols that they have in the league, but also within the camp of the Manly Seagulls. But in all seriousness, there's not much left in the squad, and especially 2 key starting props and second rows like that, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, nah, well put, Eddie. You know, they've lost 2 key members of their forward pack, and they're already a young team, a lot of rookies there, and you know, you could argue that maybe they've been a bit lucky the way they've started the season with 2 wins, but you know, the losses are leveling out now, and after a performance like that or a loss like that, you know, losing those 2 players as well on top of that, you know, you got to wonder if Manly's sort of ran their luck out. But at the same time, you know, they've still got a lot of stars there, and when you've got someone like KCK who's got that experience and that leadership qualities that, you know, makes him a good skipper, you know, I'm definitely not writing them off. I think they'll probably finish higher than what we would have initially predicted. But I think it's all going to catch up with them eventually, you know. I think they just need time to build, time to familiarize each other with, you know, the game plan, the style that they play. And, yeah, you know, it's a pretty rare sight to see the Seagulls struggling, but it's still very early and you can't count them out yet. So plenty of footy left to be played. We'll see how they go. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Very early days for Manly, but KCK, if he has to, put the team on his back and get them over the line. We all know he can do it, and he will. I did release a little sneak peek in SRL chat for the viewers who are still around. Our man Sonny Taia hooked us up with the 1-month Xbox Game Pass gift card. That can be the openings for it will open tonight. I didn't actually tell Sonny on this, but instead of being first in, first serve, or you know, randomly chosen, take a bit of time, take a bit to think. Chuck myself, either me or Sonny Taia, a message in our DMs, actually telling us why you'd want it, the best reason, and also Yeah, I reckon the best reason, and also probably just whatever does get written will get given to them. I'll leave it open for a few days. And honestly, the conclusion of it will come when the player gets announced of who gets it. Thank you very much for joining us. Sonny, if you want to add anything onto that, feel free. If you don't, we'll just continue on.
No, yeah, I've got nothing to say really. But yeah, just a thank you to everyone that's tuned in for tonight's
Yeah.
episode,
Definitely.
episode 2. You know, it's always good fun jumping in here with you lads, you know, talking a bit of SRL footy, and I'm sure everyone else enjoys it too. So wherever you are, you know, hope you're doing all right, hope you're doing well, and yeah. And we'll be back next week, same time.
Yeah, no, we definitely will be. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm out. The sirens are calling. The raid's about to happen. I've got to hit the bunker. Thank you very much to you lads for joining us. As always, we'll see you next week for more SRL. The times might change up again. We'll never know. But thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. Ruben Mobs, Anthony McDonald, Logan Strange as well, who did text me personally saying he'd be on tonight. Massive thank you for joining us, brother. Enjoy the off week of the SRL. We'll be back next week for a lot more content to go through. Thank you very much for joining me as always. Tim James, Lennox Prakash, Sonny Taia, Matty Harris, Eddie Oliver as always. Thank you all very much and stay safe out there during the SRL.
Up the shot.